Good morning, students. Today we are going to start the fourth chapter, A Holiday on Mars by Richard Mays Elam. So let us read few lines about the author. He was born in the year 1920 and died in the year 2013. He was an American science fiction author. Science fiction means he used to write imaginary stories based on science. So his early works are mostly for young readers. So most of his books were read by mostly the young people because the youngsters they love to read unusual things, unusual stories. Now let us start the chapter. A holiday on Mars. So before this, let me ask you, is it possible for any of us to go to Mars and spend a holiday? No, it is not possible. So this is a story that is written by Richard Mays, and who is always a science fiction author. That means he used to write imaginary or untrue stories based on science. See, in this chapter, we are going to meet a couple of brother and sister. The brother's name is Steve and the sister is Theo, and they are visiting the planet Mars with their family friend named Biff. So they three are visiting the glass dome colonies on planet Mars. On planet Mars, there were glass dome colonies, means there were a circular or round shaped roofs made with glass. So such colonies were made on the planet Mars, and they were visiting it. They were looking, they were watching all those. So after some time they realized that it is time for them to return to their spaceship. To which spaceship? To the spaceship by which they have traveled from Earth to Mars. That means now they are going to come back to Earth again with the same spaceship that they have gone to Mars. The journey from the glass dome to the spaceship takes 10 minutes on the high speed sledge. So in the high speed sledge means is a vehicle kind of thing that is like a plane or plane shape, like an aeroplane without wings, but it has blades, slats beneath it, below it, that moves very on. If it is moved very fast in the highest speed, it will take just 10 minutes from the glass dome to their spaceship. So they decided to step out and watch the rockets being launched to send fuel to the spaceship stationed above the planet. So they thought that let us now come out and watch the rockets that are going to be launched to where? To their spaceship to fill fuel into their spaceship. And where is their spaceship standing now? Their spaceship is stationed. That means their spaceship is standing on over the above the planet Mars. In the dressing room, they put on their spacesuits. So spacesuits are those special dress that the astronauts they wear in the space. Beef carefully checked the siblings' air tanks. So Beef was a very careful person. He was very carefully checking their dress, spacesuits. Then he checked their air tanks. Air tanks means oxygen cylinders that are helping them to take breath. And built-in heaters, then that means certain heaters are attached to their spacesuits, attached to the dress, that maintain the body heat, right? Body heat. Okay. And their helmet radios for talking to one another. And even he checked their helmet radios, which help them to talk to one another in the space. So after wearing their spacesuits, they came outside, and what they saw, they saw that spacesuited figures gathered around the fuel rocket cannon. So here rocket cannons are very big and large gun-like objects that helps the rockets to move out. Okay, so suddenly the three of them, who are these three? Steve, Chew, and Biff. The three of them heard a loud roar and saw a burst of flame. They saw lot of smokes and they heard a very big sound. Like a bullet, the rocket left the muzzle of the giant gun, and from the rocket cannon, the rocket went off with a very big sound and a lot of flame, that is smoke, and rose into the sky and went into the sky. They'll be shooting off more, Biff said. Then Biff said to whom? To Steve and Chew, that there will be more rockets that will be shoot off from the rocket cannon now. Our ship is at the end of the canal. That means their spaceship is at the end of canal. What is canal here? Canal is the ice canal spread through the planet. It is just imagined that canals are spread throughout the planet and their spaceship is at the end of the canal. We will be able to see the rockets go off as we head back. So when we journeyed back, or when we return, while going back, we'll be able to see more rockets going off. The three went to the canal bank to see if their sled was ready to go, and it was. And so the sled I was talking about, so this is the sled. Okay, so they went to see whether their sled was ready to go or not. So with this sled, if they go to the spaceship, it will take only 10 minutes. Okay, this was the high speed sled. So they all three went to see whether their sleds were ready or not, and it was ready. The sled looked like a plane without the wings. So it is just like a plane without wings. That means there are no blades, no wings. Instead of wheels, there were long runners beneath it. So in a plane, normally we see wheels under the or below the plane, but here since there is ice, so we could see sledge. That means runners that are below the or at the bottom of the sledge. Steve, Chew, and Biff climbed into the front seat. So they all climbed into the front seat. They managed to sit comfortably inside the sledge. Biff pushed the buttons in front of them. So in front of them, he pushed some buttons. That means Biff knew how to ride a sledge. Steve and Chew felt the sledge engine throbbing. Throbbing means now they felt that the engine of the sledge started. It started with a big shaking. The next moment, the sledge shot off over the smooth sheet of ice. So over the ice, now the sledge started to move up very fast. Biff holding tightly to the steering wheel, and Biff was trying to have control over the sledge by holding the steering wheel of the sledge very tightly. And now Biff was having control on the steering wheel, and they sped along 100 miles an hour. That means it was in a full speed, like in an hour it would cover 100 miles. So we will be there in about 10 minutes, Biff said. Then Biff said that within 10 minutes we were going to reach the spaceship. The ship leaves in 30, which gives us some spare time. And he said that within 10 minutes we are going to reach our spaceship, and we will get some extra time to relax in the spaceship. A few minutes later, Chew noticed a bright streak against the purple sky. Against the sky, purple color sky, Chew noticed, she saw a bright streak, that means a bright ray of light. There goes another fuel rocket, Stu called out, pointing through the windshield. Windshield means the front glass. For pointing through the front glass, Stu said that see another fuel rocket has been launched. As Biff caught sight of it, he jerked up sharply in his seat, bumping the soldiers of Chew and Steve on both sides of him. And when Biff saw this, that the rocket is being launched, he immediately tried to he was very much shocked, so he tried to control the speed of the sledge, and while doing so he pushed the soldiers of the two children on both sides of him. So by both his arms he had to push both the children because he tried to control the speed of the sledge. "That rocket's too low," he exclaimed. Then he shouted, "Who?" Beef shouted that the rocket is very low. That means when rockets are launched, they fly into the higher up into the sky. But this rocket is not flying high. It is too low. It is not lifting. It is not lifting. It is coming down. Something's gone wrong. Then Beef said that there is something wrong. Steve felt chills run up his spine, and Steve felt very much scared. He was very nervous. He was seeing the danger too now, and Steve realized that there is danger in front of their eyes. Something bad going to happen now. The rocket was dropping ahead of them, and they saw that the rocket was dropping, that is, lowering itself down in front of them. It was still quite a distance away, but even Steve knew that it would make a terrible blast that when it struck the ice. So there was a little bit distance between the sledge and the rocket, but the rocket is going to hit the snow surface, and there is going to have a very dangerous and terrible blast on the surface when it will go and hit the ice. Biff's feet hit the brakes of the sledge, and the runners chewed into the hard ice pack, bringing the sledge to a skidding stop. So when Biff saw this, he put his brakes on very hard, pressed the brakes of the sledge very hard, and soon the runners, means not the wheels, the blades, the runners of the sledge, it got grounded or dug into the ice surface, bringing the sledge in a skidding stop. Skidding stop means sliding forward without any control. That means all three of them were pushed forward. When a very speedy bike or car suddenly brakes and put its brake and try to stop, what happens? The passengers sitting in the seat, they jump to the front. Okay, so same thing happened with them. The riders were slammed forward and they were thrown forward. Chew and Steve were dazed but not hurt. So they were in shock. They were very much scared, but they were not hurt. When Steve's mind cleared, he saw that Beef had thrown himself over in front of Chew and him to protect them. So when Steve's mind was clear, that means he was now a little bit relaxed. He saw that Beef protected both of them and he hurted himself. But in doing this, his helmet had thumped against the windshield. And when he was trying to save Chew and Steve, Beef's helmet hit the windshield, that means front glass, very hard. He was now slumped over and not moving, and he was now collapsed. That means he is now unconscious and he is not moving now. Just then they felt the shock of the explosion, and just then they realized the shock of the explosion. It tilted the sled at an angle, so it moved the sled at an angle and dropped it down against with a hard jolt and dropped it and moved it very that means a very sudden or very quick and dangerous move was faced by the sledge. But in doing this, this air was filled with flying chunks of ice, and when this happened, there was ice everywhere flying in the air. The ice fell against the windshield like stones, and the ice started falling on the front glass of the sleds like stones, making lot of sound. Chew and Steve were relieved when it finally stopped, and when the ice stopped falling, they were relaxed now. They were very much nervous at that time. But the explosion had left the ice canal. Now the explosion have come down, but the ice canal in front of them broken and soaked with lumps of ice, and their ice canal was a smooth path. Now that path, that road, that canal, ice canal was broken. The road was broken, and everywhere there was ice that blocked the way. And how they move their sleds forward now? That is the biggest problem. The children tried to revive their friend but could not. So the children tried to wake, try to bring Beef into conscious, but they failed. We have got to get the sleds to the ship ourselves, Chew. Then uh, her brother said. So Steve said that, Chew, anyways, we have to move the ship ourselves. Beef may need a doctor, and they realized that, and they said to each other that we, as soon as possible, we need to take Beef to a doctor. He's in danger. At first, it seemed like an impossible thing for a pair of 12-year-olds. To pair of 12-year means both of them, Steve and Chew, they were 12 years old. So at first, it was like very much impossible for Steve and Chew to run the big sled. But Steve remembered how Beef had worked the controls. But Steve, the brother, he remembered how Beef worked the controls, how he started operating the engine of the sledge, and he believed that he too could do it. He changed his he changed sits with the unconscious spaceman and tried the levers and buttons. So, what it is said that when Steve tried to move the sledge forward, he remembered how Beef was trying. Okay, and he tried the levers and buttons. The sledge rockets began to pour fire out of the rear. So slowly the engine started, and they could see the fires coming out. But Steve couldn't get the sledge to move, but Steve was not able to move it forward. Then Chew showed him the lever to push. Then Chew showed him. Even Chew was monitoring, watching how Beef was driving or having his control over the sledge. So Chew said, Steve, Beef was pushing the lever this way. So which she remembered seeing Beef do. As Steve moved it gently, so slowly, when very carefully and slowly, gently, Steve moved the lever, the sled started off slowly, and they started moving forward. Steve carefully guided the sledge across the canal and through the unbroken path. So he slowly managed to move the sledge through across the canal and through the unbroken, that means good parts of the road. As he drove, Chew tried to awaken Biff. So when Steve was trying to move the sledge, it started driving or moving the sledge forward, and Chew was not sitting idle. She was busy making Biff wake up. At last, Steve saw the round top of the spaceship just over the horizon. So from far away, he saw the curved roof or the round covering of their spaceship. It was at that moment that Chew called out the good news, and at that moment only Chew told Sledge, Chew gave Steve good news. What was the good news? That Biff's awakening Steve, Biff is coming to into sense. He is conscious now. The boys saw their friend slowly rise up, then shake his head to clear it. And the boy, that means Steve, saw that Beef was rising up, and and to and he shook his head to clear himself, because he was not feeling he was feeling dizzy kind of. Okay. When he smiled at them in his pleasant way, they were sure that he was going to be all right. And when Beef gave the children a very nice smile, they were sure that Beef is all going to be all right now. By the time they had told him what had happened, and immediately the children started telling him what had all happened few minutes before. He was his old self again. Then he was the one who just before the incident how he was, so he became the original one, and he started controlling the sledge. He took the controls and looked at his watch, and he came to the driving seat. He sat down there, and he managed to control the engine of the sledge. And by then he watched the watch. He looked at his watch. Time's running out, he said. Then he said, we are very late. Time is passing. We have got to hit top speed again. Then he said, we have to start up in a speedy manner again. Hold on to your helmets. Here we go. Then he asked the children to hold their helmets very tight, because he's going to put on speed now. And while putting on speed, he said, here we go. As they speeded up, and off they went lightning speed once more. So they started with a very high speed as before. As the sledge came to a stop beneath the giant spaceship, as they came near the spaceship, and tried to stop, and they stopped near the spaceship, Biff said, it looks like we are just in time. Doesn't it, kids? Then Biff said, children, it it's like I think we have just reached in time, exact time. We are not much delayed. Chew and Steve both nodded, and they both shook their head. It was a holiday none of them would ever forget. So this was one of the unique holiday that they both, Steve and Chew, are going to remember forever. So this was all about the lesson. I want all of you to read the lesson again and again and watch the video. Thank you.